Whose idea was this?
You know, I think senators must get really bored over the course of their terms. Generally, they last somewhere between 2 to 4 years, depending on what part of the country you live in. And since most of the country is so disinterested in politics or anything to do with it, unless it directly affects them, we get these senators that are in office for a really long time. We just get re-elected every time voting season comes around. I mean, really, how long have some of these people been in office? According to the Senate.gov website, the longest-serving senator has been in office as of May 13th, 2012 or 2013, 51 years, 5 months, and 26 days, ranging from 35 years, 6 months, and 24 days. So they sit in office this long, and then we have the audacity to wonder why there's so much corruption in politics, and there's such a huge disconnect between the people they're quote-unquote serving. I mean, senators used to do other things. Being a senator wasn't the primary job that these people had. Starting in 1789, senators made roughly $6 a day, which increased at a fairly steady rate, but nothing too terribly obscene, and up until 1969, they were making about $30,000 a year. After 1939, however, it continued climbing, but at a much more rapid pace, ranging from $2,000 to $3,000 jumps, then several $12,000 to $13,000 jumps, which gets us to today, where since 2009, they've been making $174,000 a year. And if you're a minority leader or a majority leader, or president pro tempore, you can make about $193,000 a year. And hell, if I could sit around all day arguing about how my state needs money for drunk monkey research and arguing why evil businessmen don't pay their fair share, constantly blaming other people for my problems, I'd be a fool not to do it. I mean, good grief. That doesn't even include the retirement packages these people get after serving one or two terms for life. What are we thinking, people? Come on. I guess they do have to be careful and make sure that no one finds out about any of their sex scandals, which, depending on the kind of person you claim to be, will determine how you're treated afterwards. If you're Bill Clinton and constantly protest that you've never had sexual relationships with that woman, then you're okay. Your opponents are constantly mocked and belittled, being told they just need to let it go. However, if you're Larry Craig and it turns out you're gay, then you're drummed out of society like a leper, never to be seen or heard from again. So you can imagine my surprise while I'm wandering through the internet one day and I happen to find this little story that says, over the past 15 years, senators have spent almost $5.25 million on hair care. Now, when I first read this, my initial reaction was pretty similar to the genie in Latin. My jaw hit the floor in disbelief. How the hell can these people spend almost $5.25 million on doing their hair? Okay, now let's take a look at myself, alright? I like to go either to Sports Clips or have my sister do my hair. She's a beautician. And when I go, it costs $15 to $21, depending on which one I get at Sports Clips. If I add a tip, that's usually another $5. So I'm spending about $20 to $26 each time I go get my haircut. And I do that about maybe 4 or 5 times a year. So over the course of a year, I at most spend $100 to $130 on getting my hair cut. So now, let's take a look at how this applies to the Senate. There are 100 senators. Let's be generous and say that they go all out and spend the same as me. That would mean in 1 year, they would spend about $13,000 on haircuts. And in 15 years, that would be $195,000. Just over what the majority leader makes in a year. And that's being generous, since throughout the country, men's haircuts at their most expensive range from $37 to $49 plus tips, so it would be more like $43 to $59, figuring in a 15 to 20% tip. However, that doesn't take into account that there are about 20 women in the Senate, and generally they get charged significantly more for their haircuts. Depending on what region of the country you live in, at the most expensive, women can spend $55 to $73 on a haircut, plus, again, a 15 to 20% tip, so it could be $63 to $88. So, at the absolute worst, 80 male senators in 1 year would spend $23,520 on haircuts, or $352,000 over 15 years. Then, add in the 20 female senators, who would spend about $8,760 in 1 year, or about $131,400 over 15 years. So in total, for the men and women, $483,400 over 15 years. So each senator, on average, would spend about $322 a year getting a haircut. Now the question you have to ask yourself is, how did senators manage to spend almost 11 times what the most expensive haircut would cost for a person in 15 years? Well, the answer to that is that they have a total of 7 barbers. 6 regular barbers and 1 head barber, plus a shoe shine guy. The regular barbers and shoe shine guy made $40,000 a year, and the head barber made about $80,000 a year. Again, to put this in perspective, the mean salary for barbers ranges, depending on location and experience, as of 2012 or 2013. The lower end made $8.23 an hour, or $17,000 a year, and at most $20.87 an hour, or approximately $44,000 a year or higher. The reason the high end is so high is because this includes Washington, D.C., where barbers made on average $21.41 an hour, or just under $45,000 a year. So realistically, most non-specialty barbers are making between $17,000 and approximately $41,000 a year. This doesn't even include the head barber, though. He makes $80,000 a year. The $80,000 a year salary doesn't quite compare to what a cosmetologist makes in the performing arts industry, roughly $72,580 a year as of 2013. Those type of people do quite a bit to make their money, though. Hair coloring, extensions, Brazilian blowouts, etc. Though that example is basically what a Hollywood-type hairdresser cosmetologist would make. I mean, and the reason that they get so much is because we demand it through our spending in the entertainment industry millions of dollars a year so that celebrities look great in the movies. And if they don't, then we just ridicule and mock them in the magazines like the National Enquirer or whatever, because they let themselves go during their off-season. I mean, that's all well and good, but if the senators really wanted to do something like that, they can do that on their own damn time. I mean, I don't want to know what John McCain or Owen Hatch looks like with a full Brazilian walking out on the beach with nothing but a Speedo. Then we've still got the shoe shiner guy servicing the entire senatorial staff. I didn't know we still employed Underdog, or Shoe Shine Boy as his alter ego is called. Sorry, spoilers. In fact, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics doesn't even consider it an official occupation, even though people who claim to work as a shoe shiner on average made $10.56 an hour, or just under $22,000 a year. So now that we know it's a problem and we're way overspending on senators' haircuts, what are we doing about it? Well, looks like we have Terrence W. Gaynor, the Sergeant at Arms in the Senate, now in his 7th term, by the way, said that, shame on me for not moving to privatize this sooner. However, he doesn't understand that these are people. We don't want to all fire them on the spot, giving them zero notice. I mean, that's not a fate I wish on anyone, except for maybe Dr. Kevorkian, but I digress. No one's suggesting that we throw them out on their ears with no notice at all. I mean, if you really care about these people, give them 2 weeks notice just like any other job would expect. Or heck, if you really, really feel bad, give them a month. I'm saying that you realize this is a problem, and I guess that's the first step that any good AA member would make. Say, going into there and say, hi, I'm an alcoholic. Good job, you make the first step in admitting there's a problem. But then, as far as I know, they haven't done anything to fix it yet. So now we're taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Or, going back to my AA example just a moment ago, it's the same as saying, hi, I'm an alcoholic, but you know what, I really like my Jack Daniels, so I'm not giving it up. See ya!
Don't mind if I do!
Really, these barbers are getting paid with our tax dollars. Do we vote for them? I don't remember seeing anything like that on the ballot. If I did, I think it would have turned a few heads and we would have noticed and done something about this sooner, but nope. Guess not. Can't really blame too many reporters, though, because the amount of Washington corruption that's out there is so huge and daunting. How do you even know where to start? Oh, good thing that I started this YouTube channel to bring it out and bring it to light. Bet they're quaking in their boots now. Oh no, this guy is serious. Whatever shall I do? Despite all of this, every year the election cycle comes around, we get regaled with endless campaign promises of things that they're going to do, and then, lo and behold, they never follow through on them, and we keep running them into office because we're idiots. Hell, I should run for office. In fact, I put together a little video for you.
Serious for Senate.
If elected, I promise to provide a cell phone, high-speed internet, and a puppy to every resident of my state. I mean, go ahead and look at my track record. It's flawless. I've never lied or cheated in my life. I promise not to have a brothel full of hookers that I will constantly deny exists, and if you actually find out I have one, then I'll make you look like the bad guy because, hey, I'm employing women. I'm much better than that Romney guy that put his dog in a kennel in the back of his car and took it on vacation across the country. I mean, the nerve of some people, am I right, folks? But, you know, I'm just like you. I have 10 Bugattis and a summer home in 10 different states, but on the weekends, I go and donate my time in the food kitchen. So I know just how you feel, working to get by and make a living.
Paid for by the Serious for Senate Commission. Give us large sacks of money, please.
Well, it looks like the results are in. And let's see here. What is it, Ted? Okay, cool. It looks like we can confirm now that Senator Sirius is the winner. Wasn't much of a competition between him and his opponent, Floyd Nimrod, who was running on a campaign of laziness and thievery, and even said that he would vote to taser 7-year-olds. I guess that doesn't work very well. What was this guy thinking to have a campaign manager like Brian Regan? So let's go to Sirius now. Senator Sirius, looks like you win. So what's the first thing you're gonna do in office? Well, as the newly elected senator, I think what I'm going to go and do is go to the barber and get myself a Brazilian and then get my taser so I can zap some 7-year-olds. But I wanted a puppy! You actually bought that? You're so gullible. You're so mean. Well, no kidding. Guess I'll see you in another 4 years. Okay. Have a good term, Senator! Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, want to see something improve, consider donating to my Patreon. A couple bucks a month goes a long way. See you soon.